Hello, what is going on, my fellow Spooners? Spoons here, and I am bringing you a gameplay commentary where I will talk about why I am choosing the Xbox One over the PlayStation 4. But before I get into that, I would like to say that I do own a PlayStation 3 and an Xbox 360, so I do not have a biased opinion. I do enjoy both consoles, and I do enjoy exclusives from both consoles, including Uncharted and The Last of Us for PlayStation, as well as Gears of War and Halo for Xbox. So I do enjoy both. I went into E3 with an open mind. I wasn't really sure which company would impress me most, but I do think Microsoft outdid Sony, and I will explain why in this video. Now, I know a lot of people have hopped onto the PlayStation bandwagon and they want a PlayStation 4 and they think Microsoft is horrible, but that couldn't be further from the truth in my opinion. I do think that Microsoft put out a lot better set of games, a much better lineup for release, and Sony just didn't really do that. I found most of their games to just be boring and just not fun. So I'm going to be going over the games that Microsoft and Sony did announce and sort of my quick opinion on them. I'm going to start out with Sony, and they announced Killzone Shadowfall, which I had Killzone 3. I didn't really like it, played it for about a week, and I found it very boring. Infamous Second Son, I wasn't really crazy about Infamous. I had the first one, I believe, and I wasn't really crazy about it. Knack, I'm not really sure how I feel about this game, but it just, nothing special. The Order, no, not really digging it. The Dark Sorcerer, I honestly haven't looked this game up yet, but I don't really find it appealing from what I've read about it, but I haven't seen any gameplay. And they also announced Kingdom Hearts, which I freaking couldn't care less about. I don't care about Kingdom Hearts at all. I know a lot of people might be angry, but I just don't find that game entertaining. And Final Fantasy, like what is it now, like 600? I mean, they are just milking that Final Fantasy series, and I've never been a fan of it. And they also announced 10 new indie titles. I don't really care much for indie games, and I don't really care that Microsoft isn't supporting them. And they also announced Destiny. I was hyped up for this a little bit, but then I recently saw the trailer for it, and I sort of put the pieces together and found out it was just pretty much a Halo looking thing for PlayStation. So I mean, I might as well just play Halo then instead of trying to play Destiny. And they also announced Elder Scrolls Online, which I believe is for both consoles, and I'm not really crazy about Skyrim in the first place, but it should have had multiplayer when it launched. It just makes sense for a game like that, but they didn't do that. And Battlefield 4. I'm not really crazy about Battlefield 4. I wasn't really crazy about Battlefield 3. I mean, the graphics look nice and everything, but I just don't find that game to be too impressive or too fun or anything like that. Now let's get into the games that Microsoft announced real quickly. Dead Rising 3 I thought was a lot of fun, or it looked like a lot of fun. Rise Son of Rome looked really cool. It's pretty much 300 put into a movie. Killer Instinct, not really crazy about this game. I don't really like fighting games. Quantum Break, it was alright looking. I don't really have a strong opinion on it. Project Spark looks so cool. You're building video games inside a video game, and then you can play the game. Oh my god, it just looks like a lot of fun. Titanfall looks really cool. I'll probably end up getting that game. Forza 5, not really a racing guy, but the graphics look nice and everything. Also Halo. Obviously, Halo is a huge franchise for Xbox, huge exclusive, and I did like Halo 4, so I'll probably end up getting this Halo game. And also, if you own Call of Duty games, you'll be getting the DLCs before PlayStation owners, just like on the 360. So that matters to me because I do play Call of Duty games and I do get the DLCs. Now, I'm going to talk about some of the specs that come with the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. First, we're going to start out with the price. The Xbox One is at $499 while the PS4 is at $399. I think those are both fair prices, and I do agree with them. And I don't really mind the Xbox being $100 more because I do believe it has better games, and I'll work an extra 2 weeks and get the extra $100 to pay for the Xbox One. I don't really care. And also, the Xbox One comes with a Kinect. and I know a lot of people are like completely against the Kinect. I've seen tons of people on Twitter, tons of people on Facebook just completely against the Kinect, but I don't think that they realize that it's more than just motion controls. The Kinect I have now is great, but this one looks 10 times better, maybe even 50 times better than the one I have now, so I'm really excited for that. But the Kinect also has video controls and audio controls. I'm not sure if those are the right terms. It has video and audio capabilities is what I should have said. So if you want to make Skype calls with your friends, you can do that. You can use video, you can use audio using the Kinect. If you want to stream and have a face cam, or you want to use your microphone on your Kinect, you can do that too. It's great for those things. And you can turn it off. If you don't want to, if you're worried about privacy or anything like that, you can turn the Kinect off. So many people say that they're worried about privacy with the Kinect, but they don't realize that you can turn the entire Kinect off. And it just, I don't know why people are so freaking out about the Kinect when I think it's just I think it's a great part for the Xbox. I just think it's awesome. Pretty much most of the other specs for the systems are the same. They both have streaming. Xbox One goes to Twitch, which is much better than the PS4 going to Ustream. Ustream is not that good, and I think many people will agree with me on that. Even PlayStation 4 buyers will agree with me. But Twitch is much better than Ustream. That's not really a very compelling, though, to buy any system. And also, something interesting, Xbox One has in and out HDMI. Now, obviously, it would have out, but the in is very interesting. I was talking to someone in Bless, and they had an idea. It was actually Bless Titan. He had an idea that you could technically play Xbox 360 games through your Xbox One by using the HDMI in port. Now, I'm not sure if this is true. We won't know until the system is released. However, it's a very interesting theory, and I would hope that it works, but it probably won't, to be honest. Now, another topic that I want to get into that apparently a lot of Sony fans have been using against Xbox or Microsoft fans is that Sony supports, or the PS4 supports, used games. Now, Xbox, I find this really funny because Sony went on stage and they said PS4 supports used games, and everybody cheered, and they're like, yeah, screw Microsoft. But they don't realize that Microsoft supports used games as well. It's so funny. The Xbox One supports used games. Microsoft came out with a statement that even says it. So it's on the screen right now, and I'll read it to you. It says, "We designed Xbox One so game publishers can enable you to trade in your games at participating retailers. Microsoft does not charge a platform fee to retailers, publishers, or consumers for enabling transfer of these games." Now, it also does say, the company doesn't say, though, if those publishers will be able to take a fee from resales. So if you're angry about a fee on a used game or something like that, don't be mad at Microsoft. Microsoft wants it to be free, but they give the option to the publisher, which is completely fair, to charge a small fee. Now, they also, here is exactly what PlayStation fans don't understand. The company, Microsoft, is also clamping down on the ability of gamers to share titles with friends. Microsoft said no fees will be charged when games are transferred to buddies, but gamers can only share games with people who have been on their friends list for at least 30 days, and each game can only be given once, which is completely fine, because between me and my group of friends, we don't really lend games to each other that often, and if we do, it's only once. So that's completely fine, and gamers can only share games with people who have been on their friends list for at least 30 days, which is fine because the people that I would lend games to have already been on my friends list for a number of years, and 30 days isn't a long waiting time. And essentially, if I wanted to borrow a game from my buddy, he bought it for $60. He installs it on his hard drive, then he gives it to me, and I install on my hard drive. Pretty much, I paid $30 for a game. I give him $30, and he only paid $30 for a game. If my friends care about the money that much, then it's completely fine because it's only $30 I paid for a game, and it's installed on my hard drive. I can take the disc out. I don't need the disc anymore because you can play games right off the hard drive. So I find that to be completely fair. Now, another thing that I want to get into is that Microsoft is isn't requiring the Xbox One to be connected constantly, but gamers will be able to play offline for up to 24 hours on a primary console, or 1 hour if they are logged onto a separate console accessing their library of titles. So I'm sort of, halfway on this. I do think it's a little unfair that you need to be connected once every 24 hours to play, offline. However, I don't think it's ridiculous. Some people think it's just crazy. It's like, oh my God, the internet? What is this? Why do I need to connect to it every 24 hours? It's like every day I'm on the internet. Every single day, whether I'm on my phone, on my computer, on my Xbox, I'm connected to the internet at least once a day, every day. And, I'm not living in freaking, like Bolivia where I don't have internet. I'm living in the U.S. and I have internet, and other countries have internet too. And honestly, I think this is fine. I think it's fine in the sense that I will not be playing with people who have spotty internet. I'm sick of playing with people who have terrible internet, who lag all over the place, and I end up rage quitting because I just can't play with people who are just skipping all over. So I finally get to play with people who have stable internet connections, and I'm fine with that. Now, what it ultimately comes down to is personal preference. Honestly, I also don't want to risk not being able to play Gears of War 4. I love Gears of War, I love it to death, and I would not risk getting a PlayStation 4 and then having Gears of War 4 come out and me not being able to play it. So that also factors into it, but I wasn't really thinking about it because, Epic didn't announce Gears of War 4 or anything like that. So I agree, it comes down to personal preference, and, if you find PlayStation 4 still to be, the better console, then that's completely fine, because I do think that this fall, or this holiday season, is going to be a great time for video games. Because these consoles are kick-ass, and they're going to run some kick-ass games, and they're going to run some kick-ass software, and it's just going to be a great time for video games. Video games will be striving even more, and I'm very happy that the video game industry is improving this well, and that this many people care about it. People who are arguing over Xbox or PlayStation 4, they care about video games, and that makes me feel good because I am studying to become a video game designer, and it makes me feel good that the industry is doing well, and it's a good feeling, and I agree it comes down to personal preference. So whatever your preference is, have fun, and thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you like videos like this, and I'll try not to go on too many more rants, but yeah, I just had to get this off my chest. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys later.
This should help us out. The cog! This spot should help!
Fuel for my fire.